Hello, everyone. This is Andres Restart. Hopefully, y'all can hear me. I am joined by Try. He has his
Howdy.
own YouTube channel. He is a Nintendo YouTuber as well. His channel is linked in the description below. How you doing, man?
I'm doing well. I'm excited to be here and chat Nintendo with you.
Yeah, no, for sure. This is the first time Try has been on the channel. He's an up-and-coming YouTuber, so guys, please make sure to check him out. He makes some pretty amazing videos. Strongly recommend. Again, his channel is linked in the description below. But yeah, dude, we have like some pretty interesting stuff to talk about tonight. Nintendo uploaded like this very strange short film titled Close to You, and it's sparking a lot of conversation. There are some debates to be had. I think it's pretty obvious what this is about, but you know, not everyone agrees. So we'll talk about that, and maybe there's some room for some other things here that I'm not considering. And so that's definitely gonna be a big part of tonight's discussion. But we're also gonna be talking about Metroid Prime 4 Beyond because we got some interesting news about that I think is actually surprisingly a pretty big deal. And you know, we've been playing Mario Galaxy 1 and 2 the last few days. It came out last Thursday. We have Hyrule Warriors Age of Imprisonment news. Pokemon Legends ZA is coming out in less than 2 weeks. Like, there's really like a lot kind of going on. Do I think we're gonna get to everything? I think we're gonna get to some things. We'll kind of see what happens. But yeah, I think we're gonna have a pretty fun discussion tonight. But Try, how about you kind of tell people a little bit about yourself before you know, we jump into things?
Sure, yeah. So I started my YouTube channel in January, but I've been watching a lot of YouTube, especially Nintendo YouTube, for, I don't know, 10, 11, 12 years. Long time. Kind of started with Etika, EW Network. Shoutouts to my Joy-Con boys. But yeah, I've just been watching it, and I've wanted to kind of be part of the conversation. And something about graduating college, I was like, all right, it's the time to jump in and, you know, hopefully show off some design stuff I learned in school and implement it with Nintendo and just gaming things that I like. So that's me.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, it's great. So how about we while everyone kind of rolls into the chat here, have you seen the short? I know we touched on it, but have you watched the short film yet?
I have.
Okay.
I have.
Okay. So let's play it through one time, right? While we let people roll in, give it another look, and then we'll start to kind of break it down a little bit. But let me know. So actually, the way it can be set up here, it'll play through here on StreamYard.
Cool.
Let me know if it's like lagging or anything. You'll see it here in a moment. Okay, you should see the video popped up.
Yeah, I see the screen.
Okay, so lower that. Yeah. All right, let me know how it looks and sounds. All right.
Yeah, looks and sounds good.
Awesome. So like there's like actually like a lot of subtle details in this. So I always assumed that this was like a baby boy, right? Like he's dressed in like traditional baby boy colors. He's doesn't have any like feminine accessories, except I did realize that his pacifier is pink, so maybe.
Doesn't look like Rosalina.
I don't think it's Rosalina, no, but some people do. I just think it's a baby boy.
Yeah,
that has blonde hair.
I think you're right.
Also, the eyes are green and not blue. Rosalina's eyes are blue.
I saw something too about how Pikmin are invisible to humans.
Yeah,
I
so
think that's
Pikmin
a pretty
Bloom,
big.
exactly.
Pretty big
Like you look here, like you can see if you look. Can I go back here a moment? Here, check this out. Like if you look here, it's like the Pikmin are invisible. As a Pikmin Bloom, lore is Pikmin are invisible to humans, right? But notice how like the pacifier is being stretched out. Like just envision a Pikmin here and a Pikmin here, each pulling at each side. That's what's happening right there. But like Yeah, like the way it's being dragged around, right? That's Pikmin.
Yeah, that's definitely
Um,
some Pikmin activity right there.
and there was even like a blue block moving off in the background. Like there's little details happening all around. See, there's a Pikmin over there, left under the crib.
It kind of makes me want to go back and watch those Pikmin shorts that
Yeah.
Nintendo made.
And that's a whole other thing to consider. That there's a whole history of like short films for Pikmin. By the way, that clock said 10:07. That's on October 7th. Yeah, that is unreal.
Man, they really nailed the Pixar style.
Yeah.
Hard to
But
believe
you
it's
also-
not Pixar, you know?
Yeah, it's great detail. But also like you can see like the struggle with the physics, right? Like his head's so big compared to his body.
Yeah.
Hmm. All that stuff is just rolling towards them.
That's just nice.
Yeah. It's very cute. There's actually like really a lot to this that I think we can kind of like break down. You know, something I noticed, right, is that first off, like let me just talk about the Pikmin music.
Yeah.
This right here, that's the Pikmin theme.
Yeah, yeah.
So, I mean, for me, it's no doubt that this is about Pikmin.
Yep.
Like there's a lot. I've seen people like try to make the argument that this is somehow tied to like the Mario Galaxy movie, but I don't see it.
Right.
It just don't like. I've seen people saying like there's like a circle block here, a triangle block, square blocks over there. So those are like the little symbols from Kamek's spell. I mean, I go on.
The closest thing I could see to it being related to the Mario Galaxy movie is like how Pixar has their Pixar shorts before feature films.
Yeah.
Doing something like that and putting, you know, a Pikmin short before the actual movie. That's the only tie-in I could see to that. But in terms of like the actual Mario universe itself, I don't think it's part of it.
But I mean, it is interesting to think about that, right? Though, because Pikmin have shown up, like at least Miyamoto has talked about how he wants Pikmin and Donkey Kong to kind of show up in other realms, right? Like
Yeah.
Donkey Kong is in the Mario universe, right? And what's interesting is that the Pikmin, we've actually seen them scattered all throughout Super Nintendo World.
Yeah. Yeah.
So the idea of having a little bit of crossover, that's not that part's not that much of a stretch, right? Like,
Right,
so
right.
I think it is within the realm of possibility that this could be like a Mario / Pikmin thing, right? But I just don't see how this is Rose baby. It's not Baby Rose. It's just not.
Right.
I don't. It's not. The eyes are different. It's a baby. I mean, some people want to argue it's not necessarily a baby boy. You know, traditionally, right? You don't use this color for a baby girl. Like maybe if it was light blue, right? Like Rosalina's dress, but it's not.
Right.
Like it would have to be look like this block here, but it's more like it's like a deep blue,
And I do wonder if people wouldn't have thought that if we didn't just get Galaxy 1 and 2. Like, I think we just kind of got Galaxy on the brain right now as well. And with the movie. So,
right. Like for me, like, I go into this thinking like, oh, I don't know what this is, right? But the first thing I noticed that kind of sends me in a direction is the Pikmin music, right? And then I'm like, oh, there are all these objects moving around. Like at first I was like, okay, are these like ghosts? Like this seems kind of weird for like ghosts to be interacting with blocks and like toys around the baby. But the more I saw the movement, and then when I realized that Pikmin cannot be seen by humans, I was like, okay, now this makes more sense. You have the Pikmin music, you have this object being carried around like by seemingly small creatures that you cannot see because this is depicting humans. We cannot see Pikmin. Then it starts to make more sense. But there is a little bit more. There's like a lot of like interesting, like subtle clues in the background. So I could not make out what this little picture was at first, right? But I had guessed that this said children's, like, so you can actually see like the CH here kind of, right? But it's pretty blurry, and maybe like apostrophe S there first, but I wasn't sure what the last word was. But I saw some people in the comments for my video saying that it might be expedition, which makes a lot of sense. Children's first expedition. And if you look carefully here, you can almost make out what appear to be like yellow Pikmin with blooming flowers here, right?
Oh, interesting.
So, obviously the image is blurred, so it's hard to say with 100% certainty, but that's kind of like what I see, right?
Yeah. I mean, the thing above is definitely like a
giraffe.
Kid-drawn giraffe, yeah.
Yeah.
But the Pikmin at the bottom, I didn't catch that. If that is what it is.
That's what it looks like to me. There's also something here in the corner, but I don't even. It could just be like kid drawing stuff, like the same way it is on this corner.
Yeah.
I tried to like figure out like what if the books mean anything. And I did get a few titles. So we do see that book a little bit later. All right, so this is Who's Chick, right? So it's like a chicken surrounded by roosters, which is actually kind of funny when you think about it. Like they're like, oh, whose baby is this? And it's a whole bunch of fathers like wondering, all right, who's the dad?
Yeah.
And then this one is there's a squirrel on a tree, right? It's Adventure on the Tree. Like they're books about animals and like life, which is very Pikmin, I would say. Yeah, nature, exactly. By the way, I will concede. So like I did not notice this at first, right? Because I had just seen it from like this angle right here. I thought this was like an insect grub thing from Pikmin, right? Like these were like the horns, but this is actually just the front of a whale. A brown whale, an oddly colored whale. So I get it now because
is it supposed to be like a waffle whale? Like it looks like there's syrup and butter on top.
That's a good point, right? But like you see that it has like fins and stuff. But yeah, it has like it does look like maple syrup, and that's butter.
Yeah.
It's a maple syrup whale.
A waffle whale.
A waffle whale. You're right. That is. Yeah, that's just a weird looking whale. That's what it is.
I appreciate someone made that.
Right? Like they just that's probably not a real life stuffed animal.
Yeah.
So they just made like weird looking stuffed animals. Actually, there's a purple one over there. It's the same thing.
Yeah, you're right.
Purple waffle. I don't know who wants a purple waffle whale, but there you go.
Yeah, the production value is just so high. Like even just the textures of everything just look so good. I think it's weird that nothing surrounded this. Like they just dropped it, and all we know is Close to You, Nintendo, and then the video.
Right. There's
like there was no tease for anything after. No, see you next week for something. They just dropped it like that, which I love. I feel like that's the Nintendo magic, the mystery right there, the surprise, right?
Right. And that's awesome, right? Like this is kind of like maybe like a new form of Nintendo magic, which is an interesting point. Like I think some people I mean, and I agree that Nintendo's gone through different phases, and there are phases that I miss. Like I remember during the Wii U era,
Hmm.
the Nintendo Directs were filled with personality.
Yeah.
Like you had the Robot Chicken shorts, you had the Muppet
So good.
stuff. We had a lot more interaction with Miyamoto,
Hmm.
Iwata, Reggie, and that was all cool stuff as a fan. But they were appealing to a very small audience then, I would
Right.
argue. They kind of needed to provide that fluff because they didn't have the content to
Yeah,
kind of fill up the
that's true.
presentations.
They didn't have highlights to, they couldn't do headlines and just speed through a bunch of stuff because they had so much to get through.
But no, they had to make cheaper. I mean, like when I say cheaper, not to say that the productions were cheap, but relative to making whole games, it
Yeah.
is, right? It's easier to put together fun little skits to fill up your presentations. Well, all you have to talk about is Star Fox Zero, a
Yeah, it
relatively low budget
was a rough
Star
year.
Fox game made by Platinum Games.
It was a really rough E3.
Yeah. But now like that kind of stuff is it's like it's evolved, right? Now the Nintendo Directs are just so chock full of announcements. There's no need for fluff, right? Like they,
Hmm.
they have they have anti-fluff now. Um, but that doesn't mean Nintendo can't still find other ways, other avenues to share their quirkiness, and they sometimes do it with things like this, right?
Yeah.
And we're starting to see more of that now, and that's cool.
Yeah, and I feel like Nintendo's mission, I want to say it was right before Iwata passed, but he talked about wanting to enter more than just the game sphere. He wanted to go into what we're seeing now with theme parks and realtor, not realtor, like clothing, retail. Sorry, that's what I meant. Retail,
Yeah.
movies. And I feel like this is kind of a tease at something bigger to come. And yeah, they've played with shorts before, but this feels a lot bigger than that. To me, it does anyway.
Oh yeah. I mean, with Nintendo Pictures, it seems like they have like a studio to kind of put together more high quality stuff, for sure. And I think you bring up a great point, right? Like Nintendo nowadays focuses on the bigger picture, right? Like there's
Yeah.
a lot of cross promotion, right?
Hmm.
Um, so some like maybe this isn't necessarily teasing a new Pikmin game or a new Pikmin movie or
Yeah.
Rosalina's origin story, right? But what it is 100% doing is causing a conversation,
Yeah.
right? About Pikmin, about Mario, about Nintendo overall. And it's great for kind of brand recognition. And I do think it is a teaser. I just don't think it's like a teaser of a game that's going to get
Yeah.
announced next week.
Right.
I think it's maybe more like just one of a series of things that will be a build up for brand recognition for an eventual new Pikmin entry or something like that, right? Like I think the Pikmin in the Universal Park are part of that, right? I think Pikmin 3 Deluxe was part of that. Pikmin Bloom was part of that. And those things led into Pikmin 4, which is the best selling Pikmin game in the series, right?
Yeah.
We look at Mario, I mean, I've been theorizing about this stuff for a long time, but I feel really good about saying it now, like because Nintendo is doing it in the most obvious way. Like they put out a Mario Galaxy 1 and 2 because we're getting a Mario Galaxy movie in a
Yep.
few months,
Yep.
right? So I think there's an intentionality there. I mean, it's obvious, right? But
Right.
I think it's another example that Nintendo does this across the board, and it
Yeah.
helps to fuel my theories on, like, for example, and I don't know how you feel about this, right? But like an Ocarina of Time remake, we've
Oh yeah.
heard about like different Lego sets, right?
Legos.
We
Yeah.
have
The Deku Tree.
the Deku Tree came out, and it didn't have to be about Ocarina of Time's Deku
Mm-mm.
Tree. It could have just been the Breath of the Wild one, but they
Yeah.
included both. And what's also interesting, I don't know if you've heard about this, but it's a rumor. But when it comes to Lego rumors, they tend to be accurate.
Yeah.
Um,
Those get leaked.
yeah, exactly. There's supposedly The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time Link vs. Ganondorf diorama Lego set coming out next March. So if that's really happening, then to me that's just like huge alarm. Like, okay,
Yeah.
like that's no longer like with the Deco Tree thing. There's room for like, it might just be they
Right.
wanted to include
It
it,
was
maybe.
convenient. Yeah. Y'all, the 40-year-olds that have kids, they're gonna buy it for them, and like this is for dads as well. But no, if you're just getting just Ocarina of Time by itself with that battle scene, yeah,
That's no
that's
longer a one-off.
no, definitely not.
It's starting to become a trend. And when you factor in with other things, right, like
Anniversary.
the anniversary, right? I actually think even Hyrule Warriors Age of Imprisonment plays a role here. 'Cause
Oh,
I think
interesting.
the sages, we're going to
Mm,
learn more about the sages, right? We're going to learn more about Rauru. Now, it's a different Rauru,
right.
but Rauru is a key character in Ocarina of Time, right? So they're
Yeah.
kind of fleshing out that origin of the sages overall. Also, the relationship of Ganondorf and the Gerudo, and Ganondorf played a significant role. Like Ganondorf's first time as a character was actually with Ocarina of Time. He was just
Yeah.
Ganon before, right? He
Right.
became
It's the
Ganondorf in
pig
Ocarina of
monster.
Time.
Yeah.
Exactly. And so with like Hyrule Warriors, we're gonna learn about Ganondorf's relationship with the Gerudo through that story. And we're gonna see, we have the Gerudo Sage, right? Who we have a name for now. I don't know. I have to look it up. But we're gonna learn about that kind of struggle. And also we have an opportunity. We don't know, right? This is a theory, but we know that there are the witches Kotake Koeme. We've seen them in the memories of Tears of the Kingdom. They're Ganondorf's attendants.
Mm-hmm.
We may see them in Age of Imprisonment as well, right? If they are characters from the past, right? And so we're going to see the witches who are old lady witches in
Yep.
Ocarina of Time, but are just young Gerudos in their prime in Age
Mm,
of Imprisonment, right? So like there's a lot of interesting like story and context setup that they could do. So I'm just saying like there's room for stuff like that, right? I'm not saying
yeah.
it will. We'll say I'll kind of have to wait and see, but Age of Calamity, people kind of doubted that it would be used to tease things for Tears of the Kingdom, but in hindsight, it did. Like it told us about Tulin being the Sage of the Winds, for example, or
Right.
heavily teased it. So yeah, there's just a lot there. But coming back to the video, just to kind of point a couple of things, and I'll get to the chat. I know there's some questions people are asking. There's like we're gonna say something.
I was just gonna say, yeah, I think just beyond also trying to get the brand recognition everywhere, it's like this could set up. I feel like there was kind of a meme about the Nintendo Cinematic Universe where it all
Right.
culminates into a Super Smash Bros. Movie, and I don't know if it's gonna quite go there, but I do feel like this plants seeds for maybe a Kid Icarus short, or you know what I mean? Like I feel like
Yes.
there's a lot more than just Pikmin that this could go. But obviously Pikmin's gonna get the priority because it's Miyamoto's favorite. It's his,
Right.
it's
They
his
got
thing.
the history with the films already.
Right.
Exactly. But I mean, it's a good point. And like I don't know if we should rule out a Smash Bros movie.
Yeah. I think it's just feels so copium. Like it would just make me so happy. I don't want to believe it could be a thing because it just seems so crazy.
All right. Well,
But it could.
let's think about this for a moment. Let's say we are years away from a Smash Brothers.
Yeah.
Let's say 3 years. Which I think is probably realistic. I would love for it to be sooner. But I feel like 3 years is like early enough that it's, still going to be in the thick of the Switch 2 life cycle, but not so late that we're waiting till the end of the generation.
Yeah.
But by this point, 3 years from now, there will have been the Zelda movie, we'll have the Mario movie. Maybe they will have announced the Donkey Kong movie, or even maybe it's even come out. Like maybe they have a plan to have like a movie like every year, right?
Yeah.
And so if that's the case, by this point we'll have had maybe 4 or 5 different Nintendo movies. There will have been more shorts like these, maybe a dozen, and so all of a sudden there's going to be actually like a lot of like film projects already out there about different Nintendo IP. And then if they announce a Smash game, they could, as crazy, it sounds crazy right now, right?
Yeah.
But like what if they did do like a Smash Bros movie? Because the thing is, Smash Bros is a big brand, right? Like on its own.
It's huge.
It could do really well. And if they've already kind of like already appealed to the masses with a Zelda movie, a Mario movie, a Donkey Kong movie, and a little bit more, like they could do that. And what's crazy is that they have a Smash movie that is kind of like a Avengers Marvel sort of thing.
Yeah.
And that would then open the door for other characters to get their own movies afterwards and find success. You know,
Yeah.
like you think about it now, like I mean, at this point, like I'm kind of like exhausted of Marvel movies,
Yep.
right?
Yeah. I'm with
But
you.
you know, occasionally I'll watch them, but it's pretty. I'm not watching all of them anymore, you know.
Right. It's kind of few and far between.
But those Marvel movies did like there were other characters, like it wasn't just like one or two that people were in love with. Like the Avengers movies created more intrigue, and these other characters that became
Yeah.
their own dedicated series or what have you. Like you have Loki, right? You have Black Widow, right? Hawkeye, right? Like, so you know, if they build up to a Smash movie and a Smash game a few years from now, once they kind of like establish a little bit more of a cinematic presence with some of their other IP, then those can come out, do otherworldly numbers, right?
Yeah.
And then open the door for other Nintendo IP like your Metroids, your Kid Icaruses, your Star
Hmm.
Foxes, your Pikmins to have potentially movies as well. So like this could be like this sort of giant grandmaster plan that Nintendo has.
Yeah.
So I don't know what they're gonna do. I'm not saying that there's 100% going to be a Smash movie, but I feel like we shouldn't rule it out.
Yeah. No, I think that's fair. I think that's super fair. I mean, we know they're going to keep making movies with how well Mario did. Why would they stop? So
Right.
it's just a matter of what that becomes, how long it takes for it to become something like a Smash.
Yeah. And I at least think that with Nintendo, they have an opportunity to do something a lot better than Marvel in the
Yeah.
sense that it's just like with the Marvel movies, there's a formulaic structure, and it kind of you get tired of it after a while, right?
Yeah.
Not to say that all Marvel movies are there are some that are different, right? But overall, there's a similarity.
Right.
With the Nintendo stuff, you know, if they are careful about making sure each movie just feels like its own proper thing, and
Yeah.
they also
And it
don't have to
respects the
overdo
tone
it.
of the franchise.
Absolutely, like for example, a Metroid movie shouldn't, you know, a Metroid movie shouldn't be like like the Mario movie. You know,
Yeah.
it should be
Yeah.
its own thing, probably more realistic, a little bit more darker, a little creepier, right? Like that would make more sense for Metroid, right?
Almost like a horror movie. Could be cool.
But I mean, the funny thing is that with Metroid, the original Metroid game was inspired by the movie Alien.
Yeah.
So, you know, it would just make sense to do
Right.
that. The problem is that Nintendo usually doesn't go in the kind of mature direction.
Yeah.
They have, but it's usually been for like more niche things, right?
Mhm.
The biggest they'll go is like teen.
Yeah.
For their bigger IP, right? I mean, Metroid's teen, for example.
Yeah.
And Metroid is actually, I kind of, I'm curious how you feel about this, but like with Metroid, like it's not, I don't like calling Metroid niche. It's kind of relative, like because when a series sells 2 to 3 million copies per game, that's good.
Right. But
That's
yeah,
very good.
relative to other Nintendo successes, it feels
smaller.
niche. It's Nintendo niche, but I wouldn't say it's niche. People know, for the most part, who Samus is.
Yeah.
Whether or not they think Samus is a boy or a girl, that's whatever. But
Or if Metroid can crawl, but
yeah.
they at least know it's something. You
Mhm.
know, they know it exists. Anyway, to kind of come back to just a bit, I pointed out a couple other little things. There is like a little bit of a space kind of like motif going on here,
Sure.
right? Like you see here, you have the moon, you have planets and stars, right? So the kid looks at this, right? But there's also like when the pacifier goes flying, right here, there's like I don't even know what this is.
Looks like a hedgehog.
At first I thought it was a hedgehog, right? Like it like sideways, right? But then I also look at it like vertically, and this almost looks like a mask with two little holes. That looks like a
Oh.
hat, and this looks like little small arms, and it's just like a fluffy body. But then to your point, right? This could be the nose. This could just be the hair of a hedgehog.
Yeah.
Right.
Just underbelly or something.
Right. Like, yeah, I mean, it's hard to kind of make out with certainty. I can't even tell what this is. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
But there are the balloons. There are balloons taking whatever this is into the air, right? So that's just saying interesting. Like, so we think about the balloons here. We have the space stuff here. We have that picture I told you about earlier on that was about children's first expedition, right? And I'm kind of like, and then we know this. I mean, we assume it's about Pikmin, given all the Pikmin references, right? With the music, the movement of the Pikmin, even like the colors, the red, yellow, and blue primary colors. You see them a lot.
Yeah.
Pikmin, you know, they're on this planet, but there is like a space travel element to the series
Yeah,
because
you're
that's where
right.
Olimar and Co come from, right?
Yeah.
But also,
It's not galaxy per se, what people might point it to.
right. But the
But
thing is, some people might see that evidence and think, oh, that's I could. Some people might think, well, see this clearly is that there's galaxy references, and I mean, there are some space references here, so I can see how some people might jump to that conclusion, right? But it
yeah.
could be either or.
Yeah, but don't forget Pikmin also does the same thing. So
right, and so does Metroid and Star Fox. So then,
yeah.
clearly, this is a Metroid
This is just about
video.
Star Fox or Metroid.
Or,
Yeah.
no, actually, yeah. This is like a hedgehog. It's gonna be the new Star
The
Fox
stuffed
member.
animals. I'm sure that walrus will be telling you to
What?
do a barrel roll, or that.
That's
elephant.
it's the new Star Fox crew.
Or the whale.
You're so right. Waffle Walrus and his cousin Purple Waffle Walrus. I mean Walrus, whale.
Slippy's distant cousin.
Yeah. There you go. But you know, something else, right? Like, so the mother, like, there's a like, just pay attention to like the knocking. I think the knocking is kind of important. So one knock, dog barks, knocks again immediately. Like, there's an urgency there, right?
Yeah, I don't know why that knock scares me.
Another knock. Like, they're knocking so many times in such a short amount of time. Like, that is unnatural. Now, that could just be movie timing, right? But I feel like most of the time, you just need one knock.
Yeah.
They did 3. So to me, that suggests an urgency. And the urgency was so great, she left her baby, right, in the room. So I'm kind of left thinking that there's something important with that knock. Like, someone's at the door, it's something important.
Yeah.
And so I only bring this up, right, because we know in the Pikmin 1 through 4, there are no people. People are supposedly extinct. Now, I think in Pikmin Bloom, you interact with people because you are people, right? But in Pikmin 1 through 4, those events, there are no humans. So what happens to the humans, right? And it's talked about, and some people are arguing that maybe it's going to get retconned, but in prior Pikmin games and interviews, it was suggested that humans have gone extinct, or they're just not around, right? So why aren't they around? Why are they gone? This could be something that takes place before the events of Pikmin 1, and this could be kind of like a hint towards explaining why people are gone. So like we're seeing these hints of space travel. They're talking about children's first expedition. There's an urgency with someone outside, right? Like, now the mom doesn't seem distressed, right? So maybe you could say I'm just kind of making a stretch here, but you know, maybe she's not distressed because she knows everything's going to be fine because they're planning a space expedition, right? And they're just on a move to a different planet, and that's all it is. I'm just saying, it's weird when you consider kind of Pikmin lore, and there's just oddities here that maybe we'll see that get expanded upon, or it's just going to be kind of like this weird stuff that we're just going to wonder about for years and never get an answer.
I mean, that's a fun idea. I feel like Nintendo has so many franchises games where they always like leave stuff open like that, where they never show it, but we kind of know it's there. And just thinking that this could be the beginning of Fallout, like kind of what it feels like.
Right.
That's so interesting. And like almost like sad. I don't know. But I feel like Pikmin kind of has an underlying melancholy to it. But it's not quite in your face. It feels very fun and exciting, and then you forget that these little creatures are dying in droves. Like, I don't know.
Well,
It's
that was a
interesting.
good point. Well, like this baby, for example, slams down on that pacifier when we think the two Pikmin are like some Pikmin may have died,
Yeah.
right?
You see the little ghost, yeah.
But we can't because they're invisible.
Right.
Like that's it would be crazy if Nintendo uploads like another version of this next week.
It's the
And it's
same
just like
house, it's just desolate.
that's an idea. I was gonna
Yeah.
argue it's like the exact same scene, but from the perspective of the Pikmin,
Oh, that'd
where
be cool.
it's like evil giant baby monster crushing them.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Yeah. I don't think that's what this is because I actually think the Pikmin are curious about the baby because
Yeah.
the objects are all approaching the baby once the mother leaves. Like I feel like Pikmin aren't that stupid. Like they have a
Right.
level of intelligence to them enough to the point where you could probably reasonably believe that they can distinguish the difference between an adult and a baby.
Yeah.
And so the moment the mother leaves, they're like, hey, let's interact with this baby. You know, it's a
Right.
cute creature. Let's kind of play around with it. And so that's what I think is actually going on. And I don't think, I mean, I don't know. Maybe the Pikmin get crushed. We're not sure. Yeah. Well, I mean, actually, I think they kind of get scared and they are kind of running away from the baby after it does kind of slam down on the pacifier.
Yeah.
So they might also have just been curious and what's the baby's kind of like being all, you know, a baby.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, we gotta back away from this Titan.
Maybe they're on some mission to get some artifact or something like that.
What if? Well, the pacifier.
Yeah.
They wanted the pacifier.
Yeah.
Oh,
What do they need it for? I don't know.
it's probably for them. Like it looks like treasure. That's a really interesting point. Let me hold on. All right, so you see, there's some movement. All right, they're moving stuff around. Oh, okay. They're causing a distraction. Oh, using the shaker to get its attention. Well, that's arguably a treasure in and of itself. Like, oh, yeah, this is neat. Let's see, they're bringing something else to the baby. Uh-oh. Maybe the Pikmin also are just kind of curious like the baby.
Yeah. Seems like they weren't trying to get the pacifier, but they're like, oh, this is cool.
See, I
And now
think
it's ours.
now. Yeah. That's what this is. They're also just kind of curious. Oh. And now they're probably scared.
Yeah, I think the idea of them redoing it, but you can see them is totally. I could see that happening for sure.
It's like an evil monster. Okay. All right. I don't know if they're. Yeah, I think that's what this is basically. So, but let's check in with the chat. I haven't gone to the chat yet, so we're coming back to the chat now. All right. Let's see. All right, chat. How we doing? I got a couple super chats here, so let's check in with those super chats. Okay. Chrono Rig with the first super chat of the evening. Thank you for the super chat, Chrono Rig. It's obviously the end of Xenoblade when the worlds fuse together, and that's Baby Shulk being reborn.
Awesome.
That's probably the most realistic theory we've heard today. I mean, what's interesting is that, like, you make certain minor twists, like, I mean, like, I would argue that this baby is just as likely to be Shulk as it is Rosalina.
Yeah.
So
it is a boy and blonde. I mean, hey, you might be.
Actually, what's the color of Shulk's eyes?
I think they're blue. I'm just saying that. I have no idea, but I think they're blue.
So Rosalina's eyes are blue, but the baby's eyes are green. So if Shulk has green eyes, I think we have a winner here. The thing is, I'm looking at renders, but I can't get a close enough render to like.
It's hard to see. It does look kind of green, greenish blue. I don't know.
What's also crazy is that it might just kind of depend on which art style they choose.
What render?
Right. But I'll say this. This one I find here, I think serves my argument well. That
That's
looks
the
like
baby. The hair's the same.
Yeah, look, you got the big thing here, like that's maybe green, a green eye. You could
This is
also
the
argue it's,
start.
like,
This
gray.
is the multiverse.
Yeah.
It's both. It's Pikmin and Xenoblade. This is it.
And Galaxy.
And Galaxy, yeah.
Yeah. I think that's probably it. So, there we go. Theory confirmed. Ultimate Despair Bear with another super chat. Thank you for the super chat. In Arlo's video, he counted all the invisible Pikmin in the video, and he found between 5 and 7.
Wow, cool.
So there's one under the crib. There's one that carries the blue block off into the distance. There's at least 2 that wrestle between the pacifier. There's one that brings over like the cylinder. So yeah, I mean that's at least 5 right there. That yep, makes sense. And it's kind of hard to tell because
Can't see him.
can't see them, right?
But based on what's moving, yeah, it's definitely at least 5.
Yeah, makes sense for sure. All right, well, let's check in with the live chat here. Trying to. Oh, there we go. Ham Starry asks, was an animated short debuted on the Nintendo Today app? And the answer is yes. It did debut, but it showed up on Twitter and YouTube pretty quickly. Yu, the title on your videos are mad funny, not gonna lie. Appreciate you, Yu. Thank you. Drebe asks, what advice do you have for high school? Man, high school was a long time ago for me. I would say, honestly, just be more like honest with people.
Nice.
Like about how you feel.
Yeah.
Like, I think that would probably make a big difference,
I'd say own your interests and you'll find your people.
True. Yeah, you'll find friends for sure. Scrolling through.
I remember seeing the notification for this pop up, and I was like, "Is this the right channel? Is this
right?"
I was like, "This looks like a mobile game ad," just from the thumbnail, obviously. So that was kind of fun to ask people in my Discord. I was like, "What was that?" I was at work when it dropped, so I was like, "What's going on here?"
Yeah, I mean, I didn't even know what to make of it, so until I watched it. Yeah. Having Hope here says, I'm guessing maybe it's a Pikmin spinoff. So the thing about that, there is a rumor that there is supposed to be a Pikmin spinoff in the works. So this could be an interesting setup for that. Yeah. That would be I think, and the thing is, I don't even know what a Pikmin spinoff would do, So
Yeah.
like until we see it, I mean, like, for example, like, what if it is kind of like it's a Pikmin game, but it's built around interacting with humans, so you kind of have to be cognizant of how the humans are operating, right, to get whatever sort of objective you want done.
It's a stealth game.
Yeah, a little bit more of a stealth oriented Pikmin game, right, where it's actually kind of threatening because the threat are people, or maybe like dogs or something, like pets, like that'd be
Almost like a Toy Story game.
yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, no, that would be awesome. I mean, what's interesting, yeah, like as you bring that up, like the Pikmin don't start to act until the adult leaves.
Yeah.
So that's very Toy Story.
Yeah.
Although I think in Toy Story they don't interact when there's kids around.
No, they don't. No,
I
unless
don't know
the
if
kid
babies
and they're
count.
trying to scare him.
True, that's a good point. And then people just think he's crazy. So
Yeah.
but that could be part of it. Like the idea might be that Pikmin, they're not trying to be detected, so that could be all a part of it. Yeah. Neonite. But yeah, it's probably Nintendo flexing their animation with a short. But honestly, I would be down for a slice of life human POV Pikmin anthology series.
Oh, so down for that.
Yeah.
That makes me want to go back because it's been probably a decade or whenever the Pikmin shorts came out. Because was it on the 3DS, like the Nintendo TV? I forgot what they called it, but I know the 3DS had a weird TV app with like Dinosaur Office and stuff like that. And I think they dropped the Pikmin shorts there, or maybe they did on their YouTube. I don't remember. It's been too long, but it really makes me want to go back and watch those.
I mean, you can find the Pikmin shorts on YouTube.
Yeah.
But I know they released them on the eShop as well.
Hmm.
I don't doubt they had them on an app too at some point. Like, I believe it. I mean, they have like when the 3DS came out, didn't they want to do like 3D movies for a little bit?
Yeah, and they did some, and it was a weird app. It was kind of a cool app, but they also had like music videos that were in 3D, from, like random bands. It was really odd, but in a fun Nintendo way.
And the more I think about it, I think like the Game Boy Advance had like a movie catalog as well.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it was interesting. Hamstarry, what is the adult to kid ratio of people who want Lego sets? I don't know, but kids can't afford them, and adults. I mean, I don't know. That's a good question.
I mean, adults are definitely the ones buying them.
Right?
I've tried so hard to. I'm married. I've tried so hard to get my wife to let me get the Deku Tree. Maybe Christmas. We'll see. I haven't wanted Legos in a long time, but that one's like, that one's really, really.
Yeah, and you're gonna get it. You're gonna get it for Christmas, and then the Ocarina of Time thing for Iskander, and then well, maybe next Christmas.
And that'll be $400.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. Well, the question mark man here, Andres. I thought that I saw something from the Pikmin Bloom phone game in which the Pikmin are invisible to the human eye, and in that animation, the Pikmin were invisible. Yes, that's exactly it. The Pikmin are invisible to the human eye, according to Pikmin Bloom. So, and that's the only time we've seen human to Pikmin interaction until now, and the Pikmin are clearly, or not so clearly, because you can't see them, invisible.
Yeah, I feel like we're not certain about it, but 99. You know what I mean? Like we're pretty positive that it's Pikmin.
Right, exactly. Boo Mini. Maybe this video is revealing Ocarina of Time remake information. The baby wearing blue, Link wears a blue tunic when he's in the water temple. Maybe this is hinting at more underwater exploration. I've never seen a more compelling theory.
Yeah.
Boo Mini continues. Maybe the blocks falling down are hinting at the devastation at Hyrule Castle. Dude, you're just spitting fire right now.
Going.
Yeah. It must be true. Confirmed. I'm making a video tomorrow about it. I actually might make a Zelda video tomorrow, but not because of that. True Jash Fan 253. 3D Mario and Ocarina of Time remake next year. I honestly think there's a pretty solid chance. I think there's a better chance of that than Animal Crossing next year. Yeah,
I mean, Animal Crossing was 2020, so it'll be about 6 years from then. But Zelda 40th, that means a lot. So
yeah, and I feel like we can't go that long without getting a new 3D Mario.
I feel like I had theories that, like, not theories, but I thought I had common sense in thinking Nintendo wouldn't put similar games out next to each other. And I mean, I know Kirby Air Riders isn't Mario Kart, but it's a Nintendo racing IP. And so next year I would have ruled out Animal Crossing because of Tomodachi Life, but at this point they could do whatever.
Yeah.
And they're different, right? But I mean, sim games, you know.
I mean, I understand where you're coming from, right? Like, yeah, like I agree with you. Like with Tomodachi Life, I'd be led to think, okay, maybe we don't get an Animal Crossing immediately, but like, you know, if Tomodachi Life comes out in the first half of 2026, and we get Animal Crossing come out in the second half of 2026, I think that would be fine, to be honest.
Yeah, that's valid.
However, there is another Animal Crossing game basically coming out next year. The
Pokopio?
Pokemon thing. What's it called?
Pokopio?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Pokopio or something, or like.
It's a weird name.
Yeah, so like that feels maybe even more like Animal Crossing esque. So I don't know, like, like Nintendo knows what's like. Obviously, they have different development studios, right? And there are different partners, right?
Right.
So like the Pokemon spin-offs aren't necessarily like, it's not like they talk.
It's not on their calendar. Yeah.
Like they're gonna know about it, obviously, right? And there's probably gonna be conversations about when it comes out in relation to the rest of their catalog.
Yeah.
But it's not like they're gonna be like, hey, we're working on Animal Crossing right now, don't make this.
Right.
I don't think that's gonna happen.
I mean, they've held games for a rainy day before, so I mean, they could easily just hold it, a couple extra months or something if they really wanted to.
I mean, the other
when
thing
it's done, it's done.
Yeah. But also Splatoon Raiders is probably coming out next year, and that's made by the same EPD studio. Now it's a spin-off, and they do work on Animal Crossing and Splatoon at the same time. Obviously, there are different people working on different things.
Yeah.
But I just kind of feel like when you factor all these things together,
probably won't see both next year.
Right. I'm just kind of saying, like, something's got to give, you
Right.
know. So, like, if I had to bet between like a 3D Mario, an Ocarina of Time remake, and Animal Crossing, like, if of those three, if one of them is not going to make it out next year, based off that stuff, and also based off the fact that Nintendo historically usually has like a major Mario and major Zelda project within the first 2 years of each console.
Yeah.
And Animal Crossing not so much, right? Like they're usually more willing to wait for that one.
Yeah.
I'm gonna side with Animal Crossing being the odd one out. But that doesn't rule it out entirely either. Like they could be like, hey, Animal Crossing's coming out this year, and there you
Right.
go. Like, so
I mean, they know now that that's a game that can carry. So if they don't need it right now, they don't need it. But
I mean, the other thing is, like, imagine like they have 3D Mario and Ocarina of Time Remake 4 next year as like the two big hitters in the second half, along with the new generation of Pokemon, by the way. Right?
Oh my, oh.
Right, like,
And that's number
so-
10. They gotta go big for number 10, generation 10. Like that's crazy.
Generation 10,
I
30th
forget about
anniversary
that.
of Pokemon. Like it
Oh,
is crazy.
man.
Yeah. So if those are like the three big games for the second half of next year, and they have Fire Emblem and Tomodachi Life as
And
well.
we're
Like,
getting Fire Emblem.
right, like they're probably gonna be fine for next year if that's what they have.
Right.
So then we talk about the year after, right? Then that's when you have like Animal Crossing, you know. Maybe that's when we have like the next like Monolith Soft title. Maybe then we start talking about Smash Brothers or something. But,
right. Yeah, I feel like so many people were disappointed with that last direct, but like, am I the only one that's full? Like, so many games have been coming out, not just Nintendo, but I mean, getting Silksong into Hades too, into Pokemon ZA. Like, I'm full. I don't need more. Like what they showed off at that last direct, I was like, I'm good. Like, it's almost fun to be excited for those unknown things, the new Mario, the Smash Bros, the Animal. Like it's fun to know that we still have a lot of that coming.
Oh yeah,
and they're cooking, right? They're cooking on it right now. So,
well, I mean, I think Nintendo's good in terms of their pipeline.
Yeah.
My only issue that I take from the direct, or my biggest issue, is just that they're not really showcasing like console sellers.
No, definitely not.
In the traditional sense. Like there's nothing that we've seen that we're like, oh my god, I need to get a Switch 2 for this.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, most things I was excited for are also coming out on Switch 1. Like Metroid Prime 4, Pokemon ZA. Those are some of the bigger things where I'm super pumped for. And then also Fire Emblem. Love Fire Emblem. I'm super excited for that. But I also know that is pretty niche. It's not going to sell systems necessarily.
I mean, you never know. Maybe it does make a leap, but
yeah,
it looks to be what Fire Emblem's been, right?
Right.
So,
right.
Yeah, I mean, I don't I don't expect. I mean, I hope Fire Emblem like continues to escalate, but like, yeah, I don't see Fire Emblem as like a system seller, right? And
Yeah.
from
And
the
I think it's the
trailer,
nature of the game, the style of game. It's just tactics aren't a very broad appeal kind of game.
right? Yeah. So yeah, it's really just from that perspective, right? Like, I think it might have benefited Nintendo a little bit more had they had something like that in the show. Now, on the flip side, though, we are about to get Metroid Prime 4, which I do think is kind of like a big hype game. But yeah, I mean, there are good games to be excited about. It's just, are they
Just how many are console exclusive to Switch 2? Not a ton.
right? Yeah, I mean, like you think about the game, like they had. So Nintendo has like kind of like a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 punch for this holiday, which is awesome, right? Like,
Yeah.
so October 2nd we had the Mario Galaxy 1 and 2. Then and now we're about to get Legends of Zelda on October 16th.
Yep.
Then on November 6th it's Hyrule Warriors. November 20th it's Kirby Air Riders. December 4th is Prime 4. Like that's a really strong 2-month window basically.
Right.
But 3 of those titles are also Switch 1 titles.
Yep.
And the other 2 are spin-offs. So Kirby Air Riders and Hyrule Warriors. So like,
Yep.
you know, it just
They're
from
not
that
heavyweight. Yeah.
they're not like, hey, you need to buy a Switch 2 for this. Now, at the same time, I think most people would prefer to play Prime 4 and Pokemon on Switch 2, you know? I mean, maybe Nintendo's just being smart about this. Maybe they understand that with the lineup they currently have, they know that they're going to have a high sales demand and they don't really need to put anything else out there that's like demanding a Switch 2 purchase, because between Mario Kart and Donkey Kong, the few exclusives they have, and just like the advantages of having a Switch 2, like with the games looking and running better and all that stuff, that's enough until next year where they are like, all right, well, here's 3D Mario and Zelda.
Yeah, I think it's different from the handoff they had to do from like 3DS to Switch. Like those felt like pretty different audiences. I feel like the console and the handheld audience was pretty separate. Whereas like going from Switch 1 to Switch 2, it's a lot of the same people. So you're going to have people like me who I'm going to get Pokemon and Metroid and just play it, like you said, in that better version. So I don't need more Switch 2 games because I'm still going to be playing the new Switch 1 games. Like they're still new games, you know, in the end.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like if they did have a, you know, exclusive new Switch 2 game coming out around the same time as those games, then I'd pick and choose. I wouldn't get both. Like I made of money, not yet.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, and I mean for me, like Metroid Prime 4 is gonna feel like that to me anyway.
Right.
So yeah, I mean I think Nintendo, I mean I think Nintendo knows what they're doing. It's just, you know, from an outsider's perspective, they probably could have done a little bit more to kind of raise our hype levels overall, but it's not needed.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah,
it's you'd think there's gonna be a giant blowout with the big exclusives, and we only got really 2 directs this year for Switch 2, right? The April one that, you know, revealed it, and then the one we just got in September, and
which we waited a long time for.
A long time, yeah. So I think that's part of it too, is we were all very hungry for news.
Right, and I feel like we're not going to get another one until at least February.
Yeah.
A general, like there might be a partner showcase, there might be. I mean, I think there's going to be a Metroid Direct, and we already know there's going to be a Kirby Direct.
Yep, another Kirby one.
Yeah, another one, exactly.
Yeah. I'll listen to Sakurai talk about anything though. I'm not.
I mean, I'm personally excited for Kirby.
Yeah, a lot of people are mad about it, but I'm like, I mean, Nintendo isn't putting his Kirby Direct over something else. It's like this is just a bonus.
Right. It's not in place of. It's just
exactly.
It's a bonus. It's a great point. So an interesting point brought up by Kanan Copeland. One note about Animal Crossing conflicting with 3D Mario and Ocarina of Time is that there are rumors of Ocarina of Time being delayed to 27, right? Sort of, right? I mean, first off, none of this is confirmed, right? Like, I believe there's an Ocarina of Time remake because I feel like there's a lot of mounting evidence for it, but it's not confirmed, right? But under the assumption it is happening, right? Which I do feel really good about.
Yeah.
You know, is it possibly not going to come out for Zelda's 40th anniversary? And to be honest with you, yeah, I think even if it is real, there's a chance it doesn't come out for the 40th anniversary because they may want it to come out in 2027 to kind of follow up the Zelda movie. You look at how Nintendo followed up the Mario movie for the prior one, right? The Mario Wonder game wasn't announced until the summer after the movie. So it could be kind of like that, where we don't see the Zelda movie, the big Zelda game announced until after the movie comes out, right? So people are like, watch the movie and like, oh my god, that was awesome. Then we play a game and they play that game for that holiday. Like, that's possible. In terms of there being a rumor about it, so Nash Weedle had said he had heard a couple of years ago that they went through a art style shift of some kind for this Ocarina of Time remake project, which leads him to think it's not coming that soon. But this is a remake, and that was already a couple years ago, and we're talking about something coming out for the end of next year, right? Like, if this comes, it would be the end of next year, which would be, I guess, about a year from now. So, I wouldn't rule it out. He doesn't know what year it's coming. He hasn't been told that, at least not that anything is indicated publicly. So, and even then, that doesn't mean he's right.
With the Mario Direct too that we got, a lot of the announcements that it made were for games that aren't coming this year, right? They're coming next year. And so I could totally see Direct happening next September for Zelda's 40th, celebrating it and saying the celebration for this year is that you're getting announcements for games that are coming in the future. And I would be content with that.
Yeah. I would also argue, though, that we got Mario Kart World and Donkey Kong Bonanza, which are celebrating the overall Mario universe, right? And then we have Mario Galaxy 1 and 2. So, another rumor is that there are supposed to be like 4 key dates having to do with Zelda next year, right?
Oh, cool.
Maybe one of those is that Lego set we talked about.
Yeah.
Or what would the other 3 be? Is another one. Like, I think there's going to be some type of major anniversary release.
Yeah, it's a horse that's beat beyond beat, but I think we have to see Twilight Princess at some point. I hope. It's my favorite Zelda game. I'd like to see it playable on Switch in some capacity, because at this point we can play almost every 3D Zelda game. We got Wind Waker now on NSO, so
yeah,
I want to see it. But
it's interesting, right? Like, I was thinking about this the other day. I feel like Galaxy 1 and 2, that kind of shows us that there is an opportunity here for us to get the HD versions of these games. Because, like,
good point.
Listen, we already got 3D All-Stars, right? So Galaxy's already technically been remastered for Switch 1.
Yeah.
They remastered it again. For Switch 1 still, for the 40th, right?
You're giving me
so, like,
dangerous.
Just because I have Wind Waker on NSO doesn't mean we can't get Wind Waker HD. Even Nate Bildorf said a few months ago that just because Wind Waker is on NSO doesn't mean we can't see, Wind Waker HD later. He said that.
He said that?
He did.
Wow.
Yeah,
that's the horse's mouth right there.
Yeah, if you look up, so Tim Geddes had spoke with Nate Bildorf. Yeah, from Kind of Funny. He spoke with him, and he said something along those lines.
Shout outs to Tim for getting that journalism done. That's huge. I think that double tag then is super likely.
I'm trying to look up the exact thing. Yeah, so I have this IGN article here. According to Nintendo of America's Senior Vice President of Product Development, Nate Bildorf, who told Kind of Funny Games, Tim Geddes, that just because a game is available to play via Nintendo Switch Online's library doesn't mean the developer won't consider remastering or remaking it. So, the door's open.
Yeah.
It may be a small creak, but that's
something. It's not shutting it. I'll take that.
It's not shutting it. And, something else I'll point out, GameCube NSO is for Switch 2.
Yep.
Galaxy 1 and 2 are Switch 1 titles with a free 4K enhancement on Switch 2.
Yeah.
Nintendo could release for Zelda's 40th anniversary a Wind Waker Twilight Princess HD combo pack, or just one of them, right? For Switch 1, that you can play in 4K on Switch 2. And that wouldn't even necessarily be the major 40th anniversary game. That could just be something for Switch 1 owners. Well, it maybe has something more ambitious for Switch 2 owners, which could be, an Ocarina of Time remake.
Yeah.
So, I think absolutely there's a window of opportunity here to get Wind Waker Twilight Princess HD still for the 40th anniversary. However, if we don't get it next year, I'm done. Like, I don't think it's happening.
This has been like 5 years, 6. I don't even know how many. So many years talking about this. Jeff Grubb, man. I actually like Jeff Grubb a lot, but that was a rough one for him. I felt bad for him.
Yeah, that was tough. And Andy Robinson had talked about it as well. Like,
oh, yeah.
Yeah. But, I don't think that they just made that stuff up, right? I think that came from something. It just, when you're talking about things that haven't happened yet, there's always room for delays or change of plans.
Just who knows when that rainy day is going to happen. And it definitely does feel like Zelda's 40th is a good rainy day for it. But
and that's the other interesting part to this, right? Is that it feels like Nintendo would have saved it. Kind of similar to how Nintendo saved Galaxy 2, because it was weird that Galaxy 2 was not acknowledged.
Yeah.
That it wasn't even acknowledged, but of course it also wasn't included in 3D All-Stars, right? But it wasn't acknowledged, and we weren't sure why, but then we began to theorize, well, maybe after we saw the Mario movie, we saw with the Yoshi teaser, maybe they want to have a little bit more of a Yoshi focus for Mario's 40th, because Yoshi's going to play a role in the next movie, right?
Yeah.
And we know that to be the case. They even announced a new Yoshi game in Yoshi and the Mysterious Book. And yes, Galaxy 2, which includes Yoshi, and Yoshi's going to be a part of the movie. We've actually seen some leaked promotional material for that already. Like, clearly, it looks like Galaxy 2 was saved for this anniversary celebration where Yoshi was more relevant, right?
Yeah.
And so maybe Nintendo decided to save Wind Waker and Twilight Princess HD because they wanted to maybe perhaps put out more releases that are focusing on like Green Tunic Link, right?
Sure,
live action
3D Zelda. Yeah.
Exactly. So maybe the idea is that with this first live action Zelda movie, it's going to be centered around more of those traditional Zelda tropes.
Yeah.
And so they want to put out releases to help celebrate and popularize that. So those are saved for next year.
Yeah.
That's kind of like the window of hope that makes sense here.
Right.
But like if it doesn't happen next year, I'm pretty much like it's not happening. Like there is no more hope. Maybe for the 45th, right? But at that point, I don't even think we're talking about getting Wind Waker and Twilight Princess HD. We're talking about are they going to go back and remake these games? So, which by the way, I think could happen. And I'll also say, even if we do get a Wind Waker Twilight Princess HD kind of combo pack next year, or even just one of them, I still think both could be remade years later.
Yeah.
But I think the kind of like the trajectory would be Ocarina of Time first, then that would open the door for Majora's Mask. Then at that point, Nintendo has a conversation of, do we go back to Wind Waker? Do we go back to Twilight Princess? But we're talking about like 10, 15 years from now. Maybe sooner, but I don't anticipate it being that soon, unless Nintendo becomes Capcom.
Yeah, I mean, I remember when I thought when Skyward Sword HD got announced that I thought that was going to be Twilight Princess's moment. But so I mean, we get these games every couple years. It just happens. They always, rear their head around in some way or another. And this year it was Wind Waker on GameCube NSO. So they'll show up. It's just a matter of when and how.
Yeah, let's see. An interesting question from Neo Knight. What happens if you put the baby in an onion? It becomes Rosalina. Yeah. So in Pikmin, there's these onions where you put the Pikmin in there. So, all right, let's talk a little bit about Metroid. So, by the way, I don't know how much time we have. So if you have to step out sooner or later, just let me know.
Okay.
You can step on whenever. But we got some interesting news about Metroid Prime 4. Did you hear about this?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, let me pull it up for you. So basically, we saw on Nintendo Japan's website, we got some translations, and it seems to actually be kind of telling us things that are surprisingly meaningful.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm gonna pull it up here. Okay, I got it now. All right. Okay. All right, so here's an article, right? And just stick with me here, right? So you run through, this is a translation, so some of the names are going to sound a little odd.
Okay.
But you run through Earth with Viola. Samus acquires a motorbike called the Viola that is equipped with advanced features. We already know that, right? A vehicle invented by the space race Lamorne, right? That's one of the translation issues, who once existed on Viros, not Viola Buros. By riding Viola, you can quickly traverse across the vast expanse of the unknown planet Viros. So this is where we start to get a little bit of hints towards maybe a little bit more.
Okay.
So they say you can quickly travel across the vast expanse of the unknown planet Viros, and they don't say like you can use this to travel across the desert. Like they don't specify desert here. They just say the vast expanse of the unknown planet, which kind of leaves it open for more than just desert to be explored with the motorcycle. But there's more. So additionally, you can use special actions while aboard to fight enemies and destroy ores. This is unconfirmed before.
Yeah.
Scattered across the ground as you make your way through the uncharted territory. Now, you might have been able to kind of guess this because we did see like crystals and ores in the desert. And like, yeah, I kind of figured you'd be able to destroy this. But now we have confirmation that, yes, you can destroy like the pieces of rock. I don't know if they show some here. Like maybe that there, right? Or these particular screenshots don't seem to show too much of them. We haven't seen any close-up shots of them, so. But if there's a few more. But continuing though, they say it again in case there's any doubt, right? Temporarily boost your speed, knocking enemies back and shattering ore. So clearly there's something to shattering ore, right? Like there's probably some sort of resource there.
Sure.
We talk about the power slide. We know about that already. We saw in the trailer. There's probably some ore right there, like beyond that enemy. I thought it was the same screenshot. It's just very similar. Yeah. So that's cool. Here they say you can fire projectiles that track targets. The projectiles can lock on to up to 5 enemies at a time. And after attacking the enemies, they return like a boomerang. So like in the trailer, we only saw Samus lock onto one, right? We did see it come back, the missile. So it looks like you can actually lock onto 5, and this little thing that comes out of the back of the motorcycle can destroy up to 5 enemies that you lock onto.
Interesting.
So that's kind of like, some new information. By the way, I actually think the screenshot looks pretty good. I know some people are kind of dogging that the desert visuals don't look that good, but honestly, like, I don't know what else you're expecting. Like
the game looks good.
That's a quality sand texture there. Those look like pretty good rocky mountains there. Looks good to me,
I mean, I think it could point to like maybe some overworld bosses too.
Yeah.
Some sandworms or something. I don't know.
Exactly. Literally, like, exactly. That's literally what I thought. Like giant sandworm monsters. Like that would be so cool. Like a very Dune-like vibe.
Yeah. And I think, using the bike to kind of maneuver around it. It's kind of like
you could
fighting
ride on them. That'd be awesome.
That'd be so cool. But it kind of reminded me of, I don't know if you've ever played Mass Effect.
Familiar with it, but I haven't played them.
It does this kind of thing where you go on these planets and you have to travel via, it's almost like a warthog from Halo, but a vehicle to get to like an area where you hop out and then it turns into like a level. And so it's kind of what I'm getting the vibes of here, where you're using your motorbike to travel between almost levels of the game, which is Super cool.
Yeah. I'm actually looking at this picture and noticing other things I haven't noticed before. So like this is probably one of those ores right there. It looks
Yeah,
almost like
looks
a
like it.
giant crystal. But also look at the wall. There's like I don't know if this is like, is this gold like on the wall, or is it just like sand? It's probably sand actually in the air. Because I think
Yeah.
we see a similar, yeah, because it's not here, it's not there. Yeah, that was just like debris in the
Picked
air.
up sand, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. There you go. But anyway, there's still a little bit more from this article. You can summon Viola whenever you're in in an available area. So there's more of an implication that it's not just like the desert, right? Because if it was just the desert, they would say you can summon Viola in the desert. But they're saying whenever you're in an available area. So it is selective, right?
Right.
We
Also means you probably can't do it in these tight spaces where
no,
you know.
right. You can't do it everywhere. Dismounting Viola will return you to Samus's perspective and allow you to resume your exploration. This is in Japanese, but like this says speed limit, right? Like we saw this in the trailer. Like so when she does get to those confined spaces, you have to slow down, right? You probably can't use Viola down this tunnel here, it looks like, right?
Yeah.
But there are locations, emphasis on the S, plural, more than one, where you can use Viola. And so this article multiple times is actually implied, and there's actually more as we progress, that say that, you know, we're probably going to use Viola in more than just the desert, which I think is cool. This part here says, in order to return alive from the unknown planet to which she has been transported, Samus must use her newly acquired psychic abilities and Viola to clear a path forward. That kind of implies, I guess, like since this image immediately follows that this psychic lasso is that a psychic lasso.
Yeah.
So that's cool. None of these screenshots are new. They're all from the trailer.
Yeah.
There is another little thing here. So here for the Viola amiibo, it says Samus wearing the red Viola suit pilots Viola, a character. This is probably just a translation issue. That can swiftly move across vast lands. So it's just kind of like like the third or fourth implication in this article that there's more than just the desert that you explore with Viola.
Yeah.
So to me, that's the biggest takeaway from this article. It's not a confirmation; it's a heavy implication, but there is confirmations of some things. There's the you have the missile that works like a boomerang that can lock into multiple enemies and that you can shatter ore. Right, those are things we didn't know about from just a trailer.
Right.
We could theorize, but now we know for a fact is the case. So it's kind of like some interesting, surprising Metroid news that we got.
Cool. Yeah, I mean, Viola having a name, it wouldn't surprise me if they treat it as a character and it could speak to you, you know, in an AI Cortana voice kind of a thing. Wouldn't surprise me.
We had I forget the name of it, but like there was like an AI that talked to Samus and Dread.
Yeah.
I don't. Is it Adam? I think it was Adam.
Sounds right.
Yeah. So, you know, it could be something like that. I feel like Viola's a girl.
Oh yeah,
given the
for
name,
sure.
you know. But that would be cool. I would like to Viola be treated like a character, right? And especially because like Viola kind of has like a little bit of like an Epona Yoshi vibe to it, you know. And so Yoshi is definitely a character, but even Epona is a character, right?
Yeah.
Now, Epona is just a horse. It doesn't have as much personality as like normal characters, but I don't know, like Epona has a little bit of a personality, right?
Yeah.
So, you know, it would be cool to see Samus and Viola have a little bit of like a relationship.
Right. Make the journey feel a little bit less lonely.
Yeah, I mean, and I don't need it to be like something crazy. It's just kind of like, you know, like something
to talk to you. Yeah. Maybe it could read off the information when you scan stuff or something. That could be cool.
Right. And maybe it's just in the open, and it would only be in the open area. So you would still have like all the confined areas where you're like, you still feel that sense of isolation.
Right.
And, you know, this is actually, I've seen people kind of complain about this with Metroid Prime 3. I don't know if you played Metroid Prime 3. So in Metroid Prime 3, like people complained that there was a lack of isolation because he had more character interaction. But I don't agree with that take.
Yeah.
Because I felt that with Metro, do you mind if I spoil Metroid Prime 3 for you, or would it be bad?
No, I probably won't play it. I played
Okay.
Prime Remastered, but I don't have a great way to play 2 and 3, so I'm just gonna probably play 4.
I won't say too much, right? But I'll just give you an understanding.
Yeah, that's fine.
So in Metroid Prime 3, the beginning, you actually meet a whole bunch of fellow hunters and characters of the Federation Force, right? So there's actually a lot of conversation and dialogue for the first few areas of the game.
Yeah.
But then eventually, once things really kick into kind of gear, right? Like we establish your main adventure, you sort of regain that isolation. But also, you do run into some characters throughout your adventure that you met in the beginning, and bad things happen to some of them, right? And so there is death, right? And so, in my opinion, Metroid Prime 3 does have a lack of isolation in some places, right? Like Prime 1 and 2 are almost entirely isolating,
Right.
entirely. Prime 3 gives you a little bit of a sense of community at certain points, and then it takes it away from you. So
Right.
you feel that contrast, you feel that loss and that sadness.
Yeah.
So I actually, I don't think it's necessarily the best criticism of Prime 3. I think Prime 3 actually does a great job of kind of giving you a little bit of both and making both feel more extreme because you have both.
Yeah.
So, I wouldn't say having Viola having some subtle, not a lot, but very minimal level of communication to show some
Right.
semblance of personality would take away too much from that. I mean,
No, because it's also like it's an AI. Like it's not a person, and I feel like that changes things too.
I agree. And also like in Primes 1 and 2, Samus still had like AIs talking to her, like, oh, you have a map update, or there's a hint, like, so
Yeah.
like, or like, oh, new data log entry, right? So like there was still like a little bit of an AI talking to you even in that. So I don't
Right.
think it would ruin it. No.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah. But I'm excited just to kind of like be able to use Viola in other areas. Like to me, like I'm kind of getting the sense that this game is actually like pretty big.
Yeah.
Right. Like,
Definitely.
like I don't like I think some people are concerned that there's these vast areas that's gonna ruin the Metroid experience. Like I feel like the first few trailers they made sure to show very established Metroid style gameplay.
Yeah.
So we wouldn't think that.
Right.
And the moment they show stuff that's not that, they're like, hey, it's ruined. I don't
People freak out. Yeah. Because
Yeah.
it's not just Metroid Prime 1.
But what's also funny is that when they didn't show that stuff, people were like, oh, well, this is the same stuff. That's bad, right? So it's kind of
Yeah,
like
That's
no
the
matter what
problem.
Nintendo does,
People are gonna throw a fit.
exactly. Now I do agree that Nintendo hasn't done the best job of like hyping up Metroid Prime 4, but I also think their intent hasn't been to until it's the time to do so.
Yeah.
Right. So, and I don't think that time is coming until the end of October.
Yeah, I
early
mean, I think
November.
it's like they have so much to show. Like you can't compare this to something like Breath of the Wild, where they literally had nothing else, so they had to dedicate a whole E3 to it to build up hype.
Right. That was the end of the
This
week.
is just they're in a completely different situation where they need to focus on one game at a time that's coming out because they want every game to be as successful as it can be.
Yeah, exactly. So right now it's Pokemon, it's
Yeah.
gonna be Hyrule Warriors, then it's gonna be Kirby,
Yep.
and then it'll be Metroid. And
Yeah.
Metroid's the last game of the year. So like I think it was kind of interesting. Like I feel like some people are upset that with Metroid coming out in December. And actually I was disappointed that it was coming out in December.
As opposed to like earlier.
Yeah.
Yeah. It
I
definitely feels like an
was.
October game, but
But then I kind of took a moment to think about it for a little bit. And, I think Nintendo is just operating on a very different timeline than the rest of the industry, right? I
Mhm.
mean, they came out with Switch 2 in June. A
yeah.
lot of people said that that was a terrible time to launch a console, but not for Nintendo,
Yeah.
right? Like they're just on a different timeline. I don't think they care about
They always
kind of-
beat to their own drum. That's their thing.
Exactly. So once I start to kind of think about it like that, Metroid coming on December isn't necessarily a bad thing, right?
Yeah.
Like I kind of think about, oh, well, you're losing out on like Black Friday sales, which I guess is true. But also better to come out right before Christmas than January,
Yeah.
right? Like, and Nintendo comes out with games at any point in the year. And you could argue this is kind of like Nintendo's last game of the. I mean, it is Nintendo's last game of the year, but I guess what I'm trying to say is that like, last but not least, right? Like, it is. It's their closer.
Right.
Whatever you want to make of that.
Yeah. I was gonna bring up another example, but it's actually completely wrong. I thought Xenoblade Chronicles 2 came out in December.
It did.
Oh, it did. Okay, never mind. Google pulled up Torrent of the Golden Country. That's why it threw me off. That came out September 2018. Yeah. So yeah, Xenoblade 2, pretty beloved. I feel like it got a lot of people into Xenoblade. I was one of those people. Like I hadn't played it before then, and I feel like it releasing in December really had no effect on how well it did. It did really good. So I don't know how much of a difference it would have made. If the game's good and people like it, I feel like it's gonna do better than the previous Metroid Prime games, regardless. I think part of that's just the Switch effect, the Switch 2 effect, you know?
I agree. Yeah, I think it's just gonna. I think nowadays, if a game is good, it has a much better chance of succeeding.
Yeah.
Just because of that. Like during the GameCube, Wii eras, good games didn't necessarily succeed.
Yeah.
And, you know, I think sometimes still games can be dwarfed, but when it comes to Nintendo titles, if it's good,
should do well.
It'll do well. Now, will it do well enough? That's tough to say, right? Like I feel like for example, I feel like Metroid Dread, it sold 3 million copies. I think that's great, but do I think Metroid Dread? I guess what I'm trying to say is, like, for example, like Pokemon, I don't think is as good as Metroid, right? From a quality perspective,
sure,
right? But Pokemon sells, you know, way better.
The brand is just crazy.
Exactly,
it's crazy.
Yeah. So you know, I don't think it's gonna. It's like a 1-to-1 thing where quality is the number one indicator of sales, but I do think it's not going to get completely forgotten and dwarfed. Is really the point. I
mean, it helps having just the fat user base the Switch already has. That gives it just a massive head start. I mean, I remember being at the point where games weren't like, I don't know, 2020, 2018. There was a bigger droughts between big releases coming out. And so a direct would happen and they'd be like Hollow Knight, and I know what that, and I don't know what that is, or Hades, I don't know what that is, but it looks cool and I'll get it. And I feel like there's a lot of people with that mentality with Switch where they just want to keep playing a game on it, right? Or kind of regardless of what it is. And if it looks appealing, if it's good, a lot of people will get it.
That's an interesting point, right? Like if you don't have a Switch 2, there really isn't nearly as much coming out.
Yeah.
So, you know, if you just look at it from like that perspective, like after Pokemon, you're like, all right, what do I get for Switch 2? Oh, there's this Metroid Prime 4.
I know a lot of people that still just have Switch ones and play them a lot. So
mine doesn't even turn on. So
my yours probably like mine. Mine's a 2017 day one Switch, and boy, that thing chugs. That thing.
Mine beeps. Like I had to replace the battery.
Oh man.
This Joy-Con, I can't tell if it's on. Like the light. This is the OG Joy-Con that came with it. Like the light doesn't work anymore. Doesn't rumble. I just have to see if it's responding on screen to see if it works. The nub just comes off. So
I got the drift. That's what happened to mine. So I've been rocking the Skyward Sword Joy-Cons. But
yeah, I'm trying to remember if I had. I don't think I. You know, I do think I replaced the control stick once. So I think I had a drift issue and I replaced the control stick.
Nice.
So yeah, like I've definitely tried to do things to kind of keep my Switch going.
Sure.
But yeah, I was trying to turn it on today. It didn't turn on. I did use it like 2 days ago to record something.
Nice.
Is it turning on? It is not turning on. Maybe if I do like a hard reset, if I hold the power button for like, see, it just, I'm holding that power button. It's not turning on.
Dang. Was it plugged in too?
It was in the dock.
Hmm.
Actually, yeah, I don't know. It was turning on a couple days ago. I think the dock is, you know what? No, I think it is plugged in.
I always forget that. Like I will constantly be like, why is my HDMI cord not working? And then I'll realize,
Look,
I saw it flash. Yeah.
Yeah. See, it's turning on.
There you go.
Sometimes that happens, right? You need to like hard reset it for it to turn back on. And I even has 100% battery.
Wow, that's wild.
Yeah. So it's weird, but and I can't play like intensive games for long periods. It overheats.
Yeah.
So fortunately, my Switch 2, works just fine
Love that thing.
for now.
Love my Switch too.
8 years from now, I'll be like, my Switch 2 doesn't work anymore.
Yep.
Thankfully, I have the Switch 3.5.
Yep.
Yeah.
Switch 2 Lite, Switch 2 Pro, whatever.
Mm-hmm. But anyway, I don't know. I feel like we've kind of covered enough for the night. Unless there's something else you want to kind of bring up.
Not that I can think of. I mean, I don't want to say it's been slow for news, but I mean, we got the Direct a couple weeks ago, so I was pleasantly surprised getting that short today. That was kind of a fun, out of left field Nintendo moment. So, excited for Pokemon next week. Super stoked for that. Loved Arceus, and the gameplay just looks super fun for ZA.
Yeah. Yeah, that's actually, I'm glad you brought up ZA. Like, I'm excited for it. I'm a little excited. I'm not beyond hyped.
Yeah.
Right? I'm not like Legends Arceus hyped. Legends Arceus had me pretty hyped. I feel like Pokemon needs to kind of like earn back a little bit of the good faith.
Yeah.
I even like Scarlet and Violet, but I feel like Pokemon should be better than that.
No, I mean, I've explained to people too that Pokemon's the toxic girlfriend or toxic relationship I keep going back to, but I know I shouldn't,
Okay.
It's like, I know they treat me poorly, and but I keep fighting my way back to those games because I've been with them for so long, I can't break up. It's just how it feels. And sometimes they hit, sometimes they don't. Like Scarlet Violet, I feel like it's the most fun I've had with Pokemon in a while. And I hated the fact that it looked the way it did, it ran the way it did. I couldn't go into freaking buildings on a Switch. Like, it was hard to go from
that was
Sun and Moon
still
era.
such a miss.
Yeah, it's hard to go from that. Like, I feel like the 3DS games were pretty dang good given they were on the 3DS, and they kind of get a little bit of grace for not being on a super powerful console. And so as soon as you bring it to a super powerful console, the expectations are pretty high. Yeah. And when they aren't even close to hitting the bar, very disappointing. Knowing how much money they make, why don't they expand devs? Why don't they ask for help? Why don't they go to Monolith Soft? You know what I mean? Like, I feel like there's a lot of things they could have done, but opted for we got to release a game every year.
Right.
And didn't think about the repercussions. So
now they did take a 1-year break, right?
Yeah.
So
hopefully that does something.
Right. But then they also announced paid DLC for Legends CA before it comes out.
Yeah.
Which is interesting. I don't know. Like I think my excitement for Pokemon has waned.
Yeah.
I don't like poo-pooing on the series. Like, I've actually pretty consistently been a defender.
Yeah.
But it's kind of been like, I acknowledge there are issues, but I still feel like ultimately the games are good, and I'm gonna stand by that. Like, the games are still good. I actually agree with you.
They're
Scarlet and
fun.
Violet was fun. It had a lot of technical issues, but the gameplay, the core gameplay loop, I thought was great. I thought the story was one of the best stories we've seen in a Pokemon game.
Yeah.
They're doing some things right. They're also doing some other things wrong.
Yeah, and it feels like I envy a lot of those people that are playing Scarlet and Violet for the first time on their Switch 2s, because apparently it's just a different game. Like, it just doesn't even, you know what I mean? And it's just, they got the core right. They just need to really spend the time they need to polish it up. And I think it would have, the conversation would be very different.
For sure. But yeah, you mentioned like not being able to go to houses, and that part always bothered me.
Yeah.
Like,
that's like a staple of just breaking and entering and talking to random people and getting items. Like, it's a staple.
It used to be the case that in prior Pokemon games, you see a door, you can go through that door.
Yeah.
And if you can't go through that door, that's a mystery, right? You got to find it. Like, there's a way to get in, right? Or there's some sort of plot point to it. It's not just, oh, you just can't go into any of these. They're just there for aesthetic reasons.
Yep.
Like, yeah, I hated that. Like, I don't even know if we can go. I'm assuming we can't even go into all the buildings in Legends ZA either.
No, I doubt it.
Yeah.
No,
I mean,
you give a little bit of grace for that because it's like a whole city with a ton of buildings. But
right.
still,
but also,
it's like
that
you
is
know
the whole
that
game
there's
too.
right.
So
Yeah, exactly. There's still
feel like
some
you
things
should
where
be
it's
able
like,
to.
really, you could have done something here.
Yeah. Yeah. I hope they work on that. And maybe like we're gonna see a significant leap with Gen 10 next year, right? Like we look at this 1 year break they took, and maybe the full effects of that break we're not gonna really see until Gen 10.
Yeah.
And there are rumors suggesting that it might be exclusive to Switch 2.
I kind of hope so.
I hope so.
A little bit.
Just so they can focus more on that version.
Yeah.
But
also, does that mean anything? Like getting the Switch exclusive games? It's weird because it feels like they started at a pretty high point. I used to be really down on Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee.
Mm-hmm.
And in retrospect, I feel like those are some of the best looking Pokemon games, period. And they're enjoyable, like they're good games. And so it's weird.
They kept it simple.
They did. Yeah.
And it's easy
polished.
To pull off.
That's the problem. It's a polished product, and they lack a lot of that. So,
yeah. But I feel like they've been taking actions to help streamline their process, right? Like, for example, Pokemon Champions is now where competitive battling is going to take place, right?
Right.
So that's now their dedicated effort for that. They no longer need to focus as many resources on making sure that the mainline games can cover that. They don't have to worry about that anymore.
Yeah.
So that's kind of interesting, right? Like, and then they recently took this break. And now they also do DLC, which DLC is easier to make a whole other version of the game. Like, it seems like they are taking kind of steps to streamline the process. The whole national dex issue, like some people don't like it, but it was a step they took to kind of ease the process of development, right? So I think all these different things hopefully materialize into a better game. And I think the kind of the bigger issue, right, is that people get upset about these concessions that are being made, right? And then the games don't really show the increased level of quality. Right. They don't show the polish that people expect.
Yeah. And I think it's just they probably underestimated the growing pains that would come going from system to system. Game Boy to Game Boy Advance, Game Boy Advance to DS, those leaps are smaller than a 3DS to a Switch. That's a massive gap that I bet they just weren't prepared for and kept the same schedule they've been going with for the most part. So hopefully it's a time thing. Hopefully it's also they got more resources thing. But time will tell with Gen 10.
Yeah, for sure. But let's check on the chat real quick, and then we'll call it a night.
Sounds good.
Cool. And Matt Carter, I need to see a new Star Fox game. I agree. We all do.
Yeah.
And actually, I'm optimistic with one's not that far off.
I feel like I would be scared to be the developer to work on it because Miyamoto would want to probably flip some tables with that game and upend things and make it the way he wants it, which could be a good thing, but I do feel like Zero left a sour taste in a lot of people's mouths. I'd be scared as a developer to work on the next Star Fox knowing what came before it.
I just don't think they tried hard enough with Star Fox Zero.
Yeah.
They had no multiplayer. Visually, like, there were some good looking parts, but there were also parts that looked like an upscaled N64 game. Like, it was a kind of a weird mix. I mean, the fact of the matter is it was a Wii U title. And I think at that point, Nintendo knew that there wasn't much reason in investing in ambitious projects for Wii U.
Right.
So,
I mean, they tried so hard to make the gamepad work and make it, part of what makes that game good, and just kind of hurt itself.
Yeah.
They might need to just, do a Breath of the Wild with Star Fox. Just kind of totally reinvent. I was going to say start from zero, but they already did that. Just in name alone.
Mm-hmm. But I think, you know, if they like pick a project that if they just, you know, look at what they did with Metroid, right? Like
Yeah.
they just they made sure to make the best Metroid they can.
Yeah.
It worked out. They made sure to make the best Kirby game they can. It worked out. Like I think now obviously you got to be kind of smart about the direction you take, because there is an issue with, you know, a lot of development companies where they have this huge budget and the game doesn't sell enough to warrant that budget, right?
Yeah.
So there is that issue, and that is a concern with Metroid. But and maybe that's part of the issue. They kind of have to think about like how much.
Right. What's the ROI on this project? You can't do a Breath of the Wild if you aren't going to get the sales to make it worth it.
Yeah. But also I don't think Star Fox would perform poorly. Like I feel like Star Fox.
I think there's a pretty high ceiling for it. I think there's a lot of potential there.
I mean, yeah, Star Fox 64 sold really good on Nintendo 64, right?
Yeah.
But I feel like Star Fox should at least be in the Fire Emblem, Xenoblade, Metroid territory, right? So, and I also don't think people are expecting like Metroid Prime 4 levels of fidelity necessarily.
No.
So I think they can definitely put something together that will do well.
Yeah, I think so.
Anyway, I think I'm kind of looking through the chat here. Neo Knight, imagine this is really a deliberate Pikmin Bloom ad. What if? Yeah.
That'd be an expensive Pikmin Bloom ad.
Yeah.
I feel like the budget for it, even how short that was, like that took some time. You can tell that took some time.
Yeah. I think maybe there's a Pikmin Bloom update coming. But that's also I look at the mobile games as advertisements, right? Like I think this recent Fire Emblem mobile game that came out, to me that's just an advertisement.
Right. Just a gateway to the actual games.
Yeah. Now, I mean, I actually played it. I played it for like a few minutes, and I was like, all right, I'm good.
Yeah. I haven't downloaded it. I saw Roger play it, Roger's Base, and
yeah,
I was like, that's enough. I'll just watch someone else play it. Like, I did love. Is it Heroes? Fire Emblem Heroes?
Fire Emblem Heroes, I think, was the first one.
Yeah, I actually loved that one. I played that one a lot. That came out like, probably a decade ago. Probably 11 years ago, actually.
This one's called Fire Emblem Shadows.
Yeah, but Heroes was actually a good game. That was a quality mobile game.
Yeah, I remember liking it. I still didn't play it for that long. Mobile games in general just don't keep me invested for very, very long. I think the one I played the most, like most people, is Pokemon Go.
Yeah. Oh. 2016, summer 2016. That was, the world was united. Like,
yeah, it was so cool.
World peace was the closest we've ever been to, was playing Pokemon Go outside with people. It was great.
We all went outside for once.
Yeah. Game got us to touch grass. Can't believe it.
It was crazy. But anyway, you know, I think that that covers it for tonight. Troy, you want to shout out any projects you're working on?
Yeah, so with Pokemon ZA coming out this week, my video is probably going to be about going over the UI of Pokemon. Probably going to take it a game console at a time, start with the Game Boy games and see how it evolved throughout the Game Boy and keep going. So I always like kind of digging into the UI of different games. I'm excited to go over Pokemon.
Yeah. Man, I missed the Game Boy games.
Oh, they're great.
What do you think about them releasing Red, Blue, Yellow as a collection? I mean, I hope it's Red, Blue, Yellow, Silver, Gold, Crystal.
Yeah. Yeah. I played Yellow on 3DS is when I played it, because they released it on the eShop.
Yeah, they did. And they never it was all exclusive to the 3DS eShop, which always bothered me. It's like they have a digital version on their servers. Like, come on.
It's there. Yeah, I'm surprised they haven't brought really anything Pokemon like that. I'm excited for whenever they bring Stadium over, because I've actually never played the Stadium games. So whenever that happens, I'll be pumped.
They're so good.
Yeah. Ruby's probably my favorite of the Game Boy games. I love Ruby. I guess it's
You know,
GBA, but
will be crazy if they released. You know, the thing is with the 30th anniversary next year, like I feel like there's actually like a chance, like an increased chance they could put something out like this.
yeah, I mean they love
Um,
going back to Gen 1 any opportunity they can, so
Yeah,
wouldn't surprise me.
imagine if they did like like an official randomizer.
Oh, no way. But I'd love it.
No, yeah, no way. I
Yeah.
know, but it would
They,
be
that
cool.
that word's not allowed in that company. You say
No.
that word, you're going straight to HR.
What if they or like what's the other thing that the Nuzlocke
Oh, I'd love that.
and officially like set up
Official Pokemon
Nuzlocke
Nuzlocke.
mode.
That's why they've been coming after games, because they're doing it themselves.
What if?
It'd be wild.
What if? I mean, I'm really at this point. I'm just like setting up our expectations way too high. But
I mean, I'm already through the roof thinking about that Smash Bros. Movie. You know.
yeah, I've ruined it for you. I don't know. Like I don't think it's that crazy.
It doesn't
Like,
sound that crazy, no, because they're gonna keep making movies. Like it's got to go
Yeah.
somewhere. Potentially, I don't know. As long as Sakurai is directing it and acting out all the scenes,
yeah.
that's what I need to know. It'll be good.
Maybe that's why there's not gonna be a Smash game because he's too busy with the Smash movie.
That'd be hilarious.
And also,
So sorry, guys. The new Smash Bros. Game is not a game. It's a movie coming out next year.
Oh, you know, I will say this: the fact that there's been no Switch 2 edition or free upgrade announced for Smash Ultimate
Yeah,
bodes well.
I think so. It's
Yeah.
okay. I don't know if it's just me. It feels like Ultimate is still a new game. Is that just me? Like maybe it's because the fighter passes took so long to like be done that it feels like Ultimate still feels like a relatively newish game. But that game's like 7 years old.
Came out in 2018.
That's it. That's crazy.
Yeah, so this December it's gonna be 7 years old.
That doesn't feel real. I don't know. 4 years, I feel like.
But
makes
like
more
the
sense.
Fighters
Time's
Pass
weird.
did go on for what, 3 years? 4
Yeah.
years?
That could be why it feels like it's still a newish game, is because we just barely got Pyra Mythra. I don't know.
I feel like I gotta be exaggerating with that 4 years thing. Fighters Pass volume.
I guess Sora was the last one to come out, right?
Yeah, that's a good question. Like Sora release date. He was announced like as a October 2021. So it was almost less than a 3-year window.
Okay. Yeah, maybe that's why it still feels kind of new, is because that game was supported for so long.
But even then,
That's still a long time.
That was the DLC ended 4 years ago.
Yeah, that's a long time still.
Right. So they gotta do something. And the other thing is that, like, they had Smash for 3DS Wii U
Yeah.
and then very quickly turned around to Smash Ultimate.
Yeah, they did,
Right.
man. I
And
remember.
they
Yeah,
had
20
DLC in between too. It's for the right. There was
Yeah.
a few. There was what, Mewtwo, Bayonetta,
Lucas.
Roy. I want to say there were 7 DLC characters.
Yeah, Lucas was one of them.
Was
I remember
Ryu-
I was super hyped for that.
Smash for
Ryu
Wii U
sounds right.
DLC.
But I wonder how much Kirby Air Raiders.
Corrin was a DLC character.
Oh, Corrin. How much Kirby Air Raiders has affected
Cloud.
Sakurai's directing, and you know what I mean? Like, is he a one-track person where it's like, I'm doing this whole thing, finishing it, then I move on to my next project? Or, I mean, he's capable of anything. Like, could he have been capable of also doing Smash while doing? I don't know. I really don't know.
I think there's a rumor, right? I think I don't want to misquote him, but I believe Kiwi Talks talked about at one point. Actually, I don't know. I don't want to misquote anyone. I don't know. I think at some point someone talked about, like, maybe there was like a little bit of a negotiation,
Okay.
right? And so Kirby Air Riders gets to happen. Maybe that will eventually lead to Smash Brothers.
Yeah, that's like a Hollywood thing. It's one for me and one for you is what they call it. Where it's like, I'll make whatever movie you want me to make, and then I get to make the movie of my dreams, essentially. so I could see
Yeah.
it.
Yeah,
Or I
so
guess vice versa.
could be something like that. Yeah, that's really all I would think of that. Anyway, yeah, we'll see what happens. But that is all for now, everyone. Thank you all so much for listening and watching. Make sure to check out Try. His channel is linked in the description below. But it's been fun.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me. Really appreciate the invite. This is fun chatting with you.
Yeah, man, we should do it again sometime soon.
Yeah, I'm down.
Cool. All right. Good night, guys. See you later.
See ya.